What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that collaboration, I've reached out with a team directly, indirectly, to over 100,000 fathers around the world, 2022 and 2021. So, love to say that you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. You're watching The Morning Vibe, February 10th. If you were in the Toronto area yesterday, monsoon. Monsoon. It was a monsoon day yesterday. Man, we had so much rain. I guess one of the best things about it is if it was snow, it wouldn't have been pretty. It wouldn't have been pretty if that was snow. But we are blessed. So you're watching The Morning Vibe here. Welcome, everybody. So just a few things. Ryan Knight will be with me momentarily. He's got to walk his kids to school. So I have a very good feel about every conversation we have, especially this one, because when we're playing our new theme, one of our friends is coming on. She was getting into it. She was getting into the groove. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. So welcome, everybody. So let's get some few things out of the way first before we get our new friends up on the platform. First things first, as always, if you are up to it, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, especially on YouTube. If you subscribe, also hit the notification button, because when you hit the notification button, you'll get notified. Notify. There you go, of upcoming Epic Conversations. So if you're up to it, would love to have you do that. Also, you can like it on Facebook or wherever you're watching this, subscribe. We would like to do that. So wherever you're doing that, subscribe. Also, I have one more, webinar to do in my collaboration with Innovation Guelph in regards to how to podcast. So Innovation Guelph, for everyone who doesn't know, is a nonprofit organization that helps entrepreneurs and business people in the Guelph, Ontario region. It's southwestern Ontario. And we've done 2 out of 3 webinars in regards to how to launch your podcast. I'm not saying it, you can contact them, very successful. And I'm very happy to be sharing with them. And we're going to be doing some more collaboration. So the link is there. If you want to check it out, would love to have you there. A number of the Dr. Vibe family have jumped in and supported. So much appreciated about that. So we have some new people coming on. I was a little bit concerned that are they gonna jump in? They're gonna jump in, but they came in, so they got some buffer. So before we go any further, I want to say good morning to FitNet's IQ Cam, one of the regular family here on The Morning Vibe, which is fantastic. So let's give a little background about what we're going to be chatting about today. So has anyone heard of the name Bessie Coleman? Pop quiz. Anybody? Well, if you haven't, you're going to hear about Bessie Coleman this morning, as we say, this morning. So a little bit of background. There is a wonderful one-woman play called The Flight. And I'm going to read it here. The Flight, a new work by acclaimed theater artist Beryl Bain, explores the groundbreaking life of aviation pioneer Bessie Coleman, the first African-American woman and the first Native American to hold an international pilot's license. Rising above the economic obstacles and barriers in the roaring 20s, she earned the nickname, quote, Brave Bessie, unquote. And even her dreams were quite literally sky high. From flight school in Paris to spectacular brainstorming shows, Bessie dazzled audiences with her bravery, beauty, and technological mastery. The Flight evokes Bessie's unshakable optimism, her determination, her vision, and her indomitable self-confidence that let her soar above the clouds, reaching even closer to the sun. So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. And we are blessed and highly favored to have, I guess, the 2 drivers of this epic conversation or this show here. We have Beryl Bain and the producer Marcel Stewart. So good morning, family. How we doing?
Good morning.
Was that too energetic of an introduction?
Not at all.
Was that okay?
That was amazing. Thank you.
Did I pass?
Oh man, Incredible.
Okay. And Beryl, I saw you
Oh yeah.
in the background. you were
Oh my gosh, I'm feeling this. This is a
good.
great
Good.
morning.
Well, at least one person likes the new intro. We just launched it on Monday, and we've got someone's. Yeah, I like that. So that's good. So great to have both of you. Thanks for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to share with the family this morning. So first things first, when we have new friends on the platform, we'd like to get a little background about each of you. So there's an old song by Queen Latifah called "Ladies First." So we know who we hope we got. Who's gonna share first? Ladies first.
Mhm.
Well, listen, thank you so much for your time this morning and for speaking about the show. It's really been a huge treat to be working on it and working with the team. It's about a pretty remarkable person named Bessie Coleman. Was an early American aviator, and was part of the Roaring Twenties as this technological boom started to happen right after the First World War. And so, she was not going to be set aside in all of that interest and progress and change and difficult times too. And it's a very interesting point in history because the Great Depression is coming, and we're kind of in this in between place from the First World War into the between and then the second. So there's so much going on. So that's essentially what she did. Was she just kept meeting her goals one at a time. So if she wanted to, she went to Chicago she was part of the Great Migration going into Chicago from the South, and starts traveling with her family and in hopes of achieving more. And then she gets this idea from her brother, who's a soldier, that these people in France fly planes. And she's like, they what? I'm doing that. And then it's just begins on this adventure of like, how do you get trained? How do you get the money? How do you get the plane? And she was, according to records, quite skilled, and her shows were quite popular in her short life. So there's a lot to talk about. She's fascinating.
Okay, you are too kind talking about Bessie, but I'm gonna and it's true. But you know what? We want to know a little about you.
Me?
Yeah, we want to know you. Now you gave I know you got to promo the play and all that, but our family wants to know about you. So can you give us a little bit of your background, your journey, and then we can then switch it over to Marcel, since he knows he's going to talk about him first. Then we're going to get to play. So Beryl, do your thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in. Let's see, what can I tell you? I've been a theater artist now for quite a few years. I graduated from York University, and on and off have been doing various plays, theaters across the country. I've had the great blessing of working across the country in various productions. Yeah, it's been really interesting and wonderful. And this is my first time creating something and writing it and putting it together. So it's a big challenge for me. And I guess the reason why I lead with Bessie is because I feel like in a weird way she's got this like way of pushing. She's like, do this. What about this? Do that. What about that? And so I'm inspired by her. But yeah, basically I've had some good. I'm primarily primarily performing in theater and some film and television too. And my first time writing. So
wow,
a good time.
Okay, well that's we wanted to know a little bit about that stuff. There you go.
I get enthusiastic. You have to just be like, stop with the Bessie. Everybody knows at this point it's starting to become a theme.
Okay, well, thank you for the good foundation, Marcel. A little bit about yourself, and then we'll start talking about the background and all that. So a little bit about you.
Yeah, for sure. Similar to Beryl, I've been doing this for many years now. I've been very fortunate as an actor to perform across the country and some international. I spent some time in Poland and Vienna doing a show. It's a funny time. It was just as Barack was running for presidency. And so being one of, if not the only Black person in Poland at the time, everyone would come up to me and be like, Barack, we like Barack. I really remember that. Everyone like, Barack, we like Barack. Yeah, so, you know, performed. And then in the back of my mind, like, my parents are from Jamaica. I was born in England. I feel like, you know, storytelling has been a part of my family for a long time. But I've never actually put pen to paper. I've never actually encouraged myself to go beyond just performing. And then the pandemic happened and lots of time at home, kind of pondering, like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And a mentor of mine encouraged me to pursue directing. She said that I had this eye of this curiosity around the bigger picture. And so I started, you know, delving into directing podcasts, directing digital performances, directing a live theatrical show. And then, yeah, Beryl reached out last summer, and I've jumped on board this plane ride for the last several months, all while raising an almost 2-year-old. Because, you know, that's what people were doing in the pandemic: baking bread, getting dogs, and welcoming children into the world.
What a good narrative. And welcoming children. Okay. Well, you see, now you're not boring people.
That's good.
That's good.
So Beryl, you approached Marcel. Why Bessie?
Yeah, Bessie. Okay, so I read about her in a book about pilots. I was reading this book called Promise the Moon, which is about astronauts. And there's all these pilots in the beginning, you know, all these early aviators. And one of them, you know, took up a little paragraph, and she's like, this woman was extraordinary, you know, blah, 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 the things that she did, paragraph over. And I was like, whoa, what? I got to go down this rabbit hole and find out more about her. So she was very compelling to me. I shelved that for a long time. As I was saying, I was an actor, so I was just acting in other projects. And then, you know, yeah, it was a largely pandemic related decision to reinvigorate this, and that's been super cool. So why Bessie? I think in a weird way, like, I find her relatable, but also difficult to relate to. Like, there's aspects of her that are really challenging, and then there's aspects of her that are really relatable to me. And I just like her, like, adventure, the sense of adventure, and the other thing I thought was interesting was that she wasn't political, really. Like, she just did her thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm so interested in that. Like, she's just like, so I see an obstacle. She had there's some record of her political activity. Don't get me wrong. Like, she was associated with people who were also politically active, but her life is just such a proof of courage and daring. And just like, she didn't, when people say she didn't take no for an answer, it's really true. She just kept doing her thing until she was stopped. And I just thought that was fascinating. Like, she's all about action, you know. Just she got her dreams realized.
Okay. Marcel, when this young lady to the other side of you approached you with this idea, what was your first reaction?
Literally, do I have the ability to direct this story? I was like, can I, a man, tell this story about a woman not having that lived experience? All of a sudden, all these insecurities came into my brain about, like, can I do this? Should I do this? And I brought them up to Beryl, I think, in our very first conversation, and she shushed them away in a very gentle kind of way.
Why do I say you're being collecting? Shush them away. It's like, but I'm not going to go any deeper. Like, I have a feeling she said, you going to do this by any means necessary. We going to do this.
Bam. That's it.
Thank you.
And the moment she said that, I was like, all right, I'm on board. Like, you know, I needed to get those insecurities out, and she met them and was like, I hear you, but I wouldn't have reached out to you if that was a problem for me. So I'm reaching out to you for a reason. And, you know, I had heard about Bessie Coleman. I don't remember where or how, But upon our conversation, I, went to Google, started Googling, and it's interesting you mentioned Queen Latifah off the top, because hip hop has been a big foundation of my life and my career, my artistic practice, and I just started connecting these dots between Bessie being the first and some of
Mhm.
the first. Queen Latifah was like the first hip hop artist to get nominated for an Oscar, and like to get,
Mhm.
and so I started just think about Serena Williams,
Okay.
and some of the firsts, and how her story, though it happened 100 years ago, is still connected to this idea of how the world views Black women and the boxes that they put them in. And she was like, "You cannot box me in. There's no way you can do it." And so I got really excited at the privilege to be able to tell a story like that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Beryl, why did you pick this guy?
I love thinking back to that moment because I don't have a very logic. In a way, it was really just instinct. Like,
Okay.
I do a lot of things like that, and it's like, yeah, I really, really feel good about this person. And actually, we didn't know each other all that well. Like,
What?
I know he came recommended through someone that I knew.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, yes, I know of Marcel, and I did the Googles and I could see what he had done. But I'm a gut instinct kind of person.
Intuition. Intuition.
Yeah.
So here's a pop question. What would have happened if he said no?
Little sting, little pain. And then, I'll be like, okay, honestly, I believe in that, right? Like, really act, like, seriously, if someone's not responding to the material, to me, to whatever the situation, the circumstance, it's better to just leave it. Like, it's okay,
Okay.
because sometimes, I've done that with opportunities. Sometimes they don't fit for whatever reason.
Right.
And yeah, of course, there's a part of me that would take it a little personally, but I would get over it pretty quickly, because I have been in this situation where you have to match yourself with the thing. If you really think that it's not something that interests you, or you're not ready, or you don't have the time, or you're focusing on something
Mhm.
else, you know what I mean? Like, that's okay. So
Okay.
I wouldn't have, I would have just, had a day, maybe
Okay.
a couple days.
Okay. So no worry. I'm glad you're together. I'm glad you're together. It's meant to be in my universe. It's meant to
Word.
be in the Dr. Vibe universe. So I like going hearing the process of how
Mhm.
something became a finished product. Because yes, you've got everything going on right now, but a lot of people don't realize or understand the work. And I think especially when you're in this area of theater work, the heart work
Mm.
it took to make this a reality. So can you share between both of you what, like, you agreed, say we're going to do this together. What was the journey to get that to happen? So either one of you just want to chime in on that. We'd love to know.
My first thought is, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. Process is ongoing.
Mm.
The finished product is there. Like, we're presenting now, and the audience is going to be part of that. But that relationship, that heart relationship that comes from telling a story, I always feel like there's always room for an expansion. It's a living thing. Like, when the theater, when it drops, it will be over. It's not a movie to last forever. That's actually a really weird and um, wonderful thing about theater, is that it's living.
Mm.
So I intend to live through that process and allow the show, or at least, when I say intend, it's a process, it's a challenge, but like the actual telling of the story and discovering, I hope to be able to continually do that as for the duration of the piece. And there is a lot of um, investment, I would say, that goes into making plays for live people. Like, really, really, you then you can see with all of this, all these design, everyone on this team is like this. They are committed beyond, like, you can't even imagine how sensitive and how intelligent and committed they are to it. It's just unbelievable.
So Marcel, from your lens, producer, what did it take to make all this happen through your lens?
Yeah. So, when Beryl reached out, I just, I think just accepted a position as artistic director of the current
Oh,
performing arts.
wow.
Like I don't even know if the ink had dried yet. Like I was like still in the process. And so I was a little like unsure of, is this a personal, project, or is this something that Be Current can maybe co-produce and help bring to light? And I again, Googling Bessie and realizing how important of a story this was, I reached out to the board and was like, we need to jump on this and help bring this to light. And they were on board from the jump as well.
Nice.
And then from then it was about, okay, like what can we contribute financially to the piece? And then how do we assemble our design team? And we had meetings with various designers. I mean, the thing about the theater industry, which I think is kind of similar to other industries as well, is a lot of folks left during the pandemic. The work was drying up, and
Wow.
people couldn't wait around, and people had bills and family and stuff like
Yep.
that. And so folks moved into other industries, film and TV, or like traditional 9 to 5. Because as you talked about this heart, like theater's unforgiving sometimes. And my partner was just saying to me yesterday, she's like, I don't know how you do it. Like, you leave the house at this early time in the morning and then come home like 14 hours late. Like,
Wow.
what do you? And I know. Like you need to really love and believe in not only the story but the people that are behind the story. And so in our meetings with different designers, we had a few people who penciled in and said that they're on board, but then other contracts came up that were loftier and bigger, and I think the project itself was more suited towards them, and so they backed out, and we had to kind of grieve that and find a way to find someone else. But all while that was happening, Beryl was working with a dramaturg developing new drafts of the script. And in about November of last year, so we met in June, November last year, we met in person and had a 3-day workshop where we invited another actor to come into the space. That actor read the draft aloud, and then the three of us just talked, like, what's working, what isn't working, what's clear, what's unclear, what do we really want, what's missing, and sort of had a jam session. And then Beryl took that and went away and started drafting some more drafts. We met on Zoom a period of time. We had some designers locked in, and then from there, the design team and I talked about some ideas that we thought would be really exciting for this piece. But then we also recognized that this show, hopefully, is a show that we can tour. So then all these other logistical things came in around, we can't create this over, set that wouldn't be able to be broken down and movable if we do indeed tour this thing somewhere else. So then practicalities came up, and like, how can we make something that's visually appealing, but also might be able to be moved, because that happens throughout the show as well. Beryl takes the set pieces and moves them around. And then
something tells me I just like to just watch Beryl in action. Just sit back and just shut my mouth and just watch.
No, it is a feat. Let me tell you, it is like, it's a treat and a feat. You're like, and then in January, I think the second week in January, we started rehearsals. And for that, again, we came out of the pandemic. I have a toddler. I also live in Hamilton now. And there's been,
Wow.
so there's that commute. But there's been some conversations around rest, around, navigating, work-life balance. And so I was really interested in trying to implement a rehearsal process that wasn't as grueling as the kind of rehearsal processes that I was used to before the pandemic. So we did this, 5-day a week, 5 hours, and plus Beryl's one person doing the show. So I didn't want to burn Beryl out by week 2.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we did 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. We spent a good chunk of the first 2 weeks kind of workshopping the play. Like, it's a new play, so there's still things that we were figuring out, and we didn't want to lock anything in because Beryl's such a phenomenal, performer that we wanted to
Absolutely.
make sure the piece was set so that she could take that and really put it into her body. So then the third week we were like, all right, this is it. We can't make any more changes to the script. It is what it is. We needed to memorize it. And then we came into the theater on Monday of this week, I think, or Tuesday.
Wow.
And everything kind of came together over the last few days. Yeah.
Before you jump into a few things, first of all, I'm just going to catch up some of the family is chiming in. So, a Divine Right from the DMV area, happy Fridays. From Virginia area says hello.
Okay.
Another member of the family, Tim Frey, good morning, everyone. And then Hayden, another member of the family, says, I just want to thank Beryl and Marcel for sharing this play with us. So this is wonderful. And just this week, I just going, wow.
Yeah.
So you're talking, we are all on this screen here, content creators. I have a question. Have you documented any of this, like on video? Because I would be fascinated to see the behind the scenes of this becoming a reality. Please tell me you at least have some of this.
I gotta say, probably not enough, because we were the ones doing, we've concentrated largely on the show.
Yeah.
On making that happen. But we've got an AD, MJ. I bet MJ's got some.
Yeah, because I would be fascinated to see the behind the scenes reels of this, and especially the Beryl, when Beryl gets into her zone. I'm just really fascinated to see when she's in her zone. And just going, okay, you stay out of this lady's way. You don't go there. You don't do it. You don't touch. You don't even... Go ahead, Marcel.
It's funny you say that. I have a video from, I think, week 1 of rehearsal, because Beryl plays.
Can I see it? Can I see it without her knowing? Can I see it?
I'll send it to you. Yeah. She plays like a bunch of different characters, and to think about, week 1 where she was script in hand, portraying this one character, to where that character sits now, it's phenomenal. You're like, the range and the ability to fully transform. It's quite a magical thing to see.
Well, it's interesting. You're reading my alleged mind, because I'd love to see the transformation of Beryl into Bessie's character. I'd be very envious just to see even little pieces of that. So coming back to you, Beryl, how did you get prepared for this role?
I've been sitting with some of the material for a while. I'm doing the thing where there's a bit of overlap between her and me. We're kind of doing this. And so I'm preparing in a way all the time. And that's still going to be a thing probably until we close. And I like to do that. I think that's exciting and interesting. I look at motivation a lot. I try to look at motivation, and there's still aspects, as I was saying to you, there's parts of Bessie that I'm like, why did you do that? I'm still answering questions, and I'm still trying to find relatable things, because that's the thing, right? I mean, you use yourself too. Like I use my experience, I use the way that I work. I have training in terms of like, how to express inside of those moments. But I just mean to say that like I have to ask a lot of questions of her constantly, and I'm continually asking those, and I found some relatable parts of the story. I connected to the parts of the story that I found the most relatable, and explored those. And so I ask questions. I take a look at motivation, and I try to honor what happened. Like if I walk through her experiences, what happens to me? Like what kind of experience am I having as I tell this story, or as I speak some of the quotes that she had left behind, and these kinds of things. So I use some of that. I use the material, but I also use myself. That's how I prepare. I kind of combine both of those things and ask questions of the character and try to understand why she's doing what she's doing, and maybe that will give me some insight.
Wow. Like, I just think about getting into the character. What work do you have to do to get into the character?
Well, you have to be really humble too. You have to get out of your way and enjoy. It's very fun to play another character. You're not going to know everything, but I approach it with a lot of curiosity. So some things that are simple, like physical things, like how do they walk? How might they talk? Do they have an accent going on? Because she's in a different location than me. Where does that voice sit in my head or in my chest? Or does she do something with her shoulders, or does she do these kinds of things, like physical things? And they make a big difference in terms of the heat, the environment that she's in. Where is she? Is she in a hot place or is she in a cold place? How do her relationships influence her? How the people around her affect how she behaves, depending on what she's trying to do, that kind of stuff. So there's lots of exploration to do, and I'm, and because this is fast, like we're getting up, it's a sprint kind of situation. You got to kind of do it all at once.
Wow. Marcel, how had you had experience producing or directing a one-person play before?
No, no, no. In theater school, I directed like a short play for the third year directing class, and it was a Shel Silverstein like short novel. I think, which is wild because Shel Silverstein was like the children's author, but this story was about a young person who was essentially committing suicide in the bathroom.
Wow.
And their parents were outside trying to get in. And so you heard the parents outside, but you only saw the person in the bathroom. So it was kind of a one-person show with noise coming out on the outside. But in terms of directing an actual one person, no, this is my first time.
So Beryl, did you ask that question of Marcel before you started?
What did I ask you? Did I say that? And I was like, look, have you? I mean, basically, I did. I was like, this is gonna be a bit of a journey, and it's a first for me too. I don't know. I've never done that before either. So
okay.
Kind of, this is what I mean by the looking at Bessie's life and having that inspire, because she's always taking these risks, and I'm like, yeah, in a way, like I'm doing the same thing, and so is Marcel, and so is everybody else. Like we're taking this risk on the material, taking risk on a one-person show, and that's exciting. It's part of making art. It's part of being creative.
Beryl, what are some of the things you find fascinating about Bessie's life?
She says at one point she's not afraid. I can never quite get my head around the degree to which she was not afraid. I mean, there was a situation we explored in the show where she crashed her plane. I mean, these planes, right? These planes are early aviation put together. They've got canvas on the outside. You use castor oil to prime the engine. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
yeah, people were going down all the time for various reasons. It was very common it was extremely high risk. And her, like she crashed at one point, broke 3 ribs and her leg. And the first thing she said was like, "Don't tell them I'm coming back. Like I'm coming back." So that's for me one of the most fascinating parts of her character is how does she's continually interested in challenging her own ability. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fall. Because I mean, in a way, you kind of know. Like at one of her training, when she was training, someone in her training school fell and died, and they all watched.
Oh.
So people in the newspapers when she came back were like, did that rattle you at all? And she's like, no, it was a shock, but I kept going. So it's like, what is that? You know what I mean? And so it's incredibly fascinating to me, incredibly and invigorating to me to work with someone who is capable of doing that and is doing it largely not just for herself. Like she really wants to be wants others to see her do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very interesting part of her as well, that she wants people to realize that they can push their own fears, like through their fears, because it's really daring.
Question from one of our family here, Ray of the Macmillan Group, saying, "Good morning, everyone. Thanks for bringing the story of Bessie to life. Have either of you spent time in the Southern U.S. or visited to get the essence of her as you brought her to stage?"
Okay, so I'm going to say I wish I'd spent more. A tiny bit. And I referenced sometimes some people that I'd met, some Texans that I met last year. And they were, and I try to get a little bit of their sense of how, again, environment and how you move in the world. And, but let me tell you, now after working on this, I would love to spend so much more time. I am so fascinated and so, I'm so excited to do more traveling to the Southern U.S.
Okay. Marcel, anything on that from you?
Yeah, I spent, I think Memphis counts as the South. Does Memphis count as the South?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I spent a little bit of time in Memphis. My cousin lives in Texas. He's a police officer out there, so I speak to him quite often to get insight about how Texans operate, and just to hear, like, my cousin was born in England but went to Texas for college. He was a basketball player, and then became a bodyguard, and now works in police. And like, just the way he speaks, I would never think that he was born in England, because he's full Texas now. And there's something about the unapologetic, like his openness in his voice, which is so contrasted to the tightness in England, this like stiff upper lip. I like to think there's no stiff upper lip with him. And I spent, like, I think 2 days in Chicago. So all that to say, I'd like to spend more time there also. Like, we've been talking about touring the show down south, touring the show.
Absolutely.
I think that's definitely an added step as we continue on.
Excellent. During the rehearsals, was there a moment that either one of you had saying, this is the right thing to be doing? Was there a magic moment during the rehearsals they said, yeah, this is it?
There are many.
Well, whatever ones you want to share.
Okay, so I'll work backward, unless you have one, Beryl. If you want.
Go for it. No.
So yesterday we had our first invited audience, and it was an audience of high school students.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, right. From a drama class. And you mentioned at the top of the broadcast here the weather yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So they were driving in from Mississauga, and so they were delayed. So we held the show. And we're up in the green room, kind of waiting around, and the bus arrives, and we just hear all this noise, bah, bah. These kids like hopping off the bus, coming into the theater. So we're like, okay, some energy. We got some energy. And, sure enough, the show ends, standing ovation. And I was sitting with the designers up in the balcony, and I looked at them, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
That's a hip hop. Yeah. That's a hip hop. Yeah. And by just a little side note here, it is the 50th anniversary of hip hop this year. All right. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Let's stay focused. Let's keep it focused. Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, this process has been full of them, like synchronicities, things working out that should not work out. Okay, like fast turnarounds and things that like Marcel was talking about, people coming together, things working, and I will also say inside of rehearsal, in some really deep like connections to the material that have been in a weird way kind of surprisingly emotional.
Can you share one or two of those?
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you, and I know
just one.
Okay, so well, actually it's interesting. Bessie has a unique relationship with her father. Her father left when she was 10, and she never saw him again. And I work with that a little bit inside of her biography, or inside of telling the story, and her desire to uplift the people around her, including her family. There were times where I found that very emotional, and every time you play something, you kind of discover something about yourself too. And I feel like there's been really interesting opportunities for me to learn more about me, as well as learn more about Bessie. So, but that would be one. Yeah, that was something I did want to explore a little bit in terms of Bessie's life, was her relationship with her father. It's such a something that gets spoken about, but maybe not enough.
Right.
Like and how exactly, and it relates actually to that. You do a lot of work in this arena, so I think it's actually really, really wonderful to be able to explore that topic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Receive that. Some comments here. Ray says, yeah, he has spent the last 5 or 6 years in Jacksonville, where Bessie died.
Yeah.
And it is quite a different reality to the GTA. Touring the show would be a great idea. And then and Divine Wright from the DMV says, wow, that's amazing. When you capture high schoolers' attention, that's telling you a lot.
Mm.
They never lie, right? The kids never lie. So
Absolutely.
I mean, it's true. It's amazing. They were such a great house. They were such a lovely, lovely audience.
Beautiful. How did you feel, Beryl, when you saw that standing ovation?
I just feel shock, and just mostly I'm like, oh my goodness. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect. They were very attentive, so it was hard for me to tell exactly how they were receiving everything. And for me, it was my first audience, right? So even I don't have any kind of knowing, what to expect either. So when they stood up, I was like, oh my goodness, that's really genuine. Like kids don't do that unless they really mean it. So
good stuff. Good stuff.
Can I share one other moment?
No, hey, I'm just steering the ship. You two are driving the ship. No problem.
No, I'm on it, man. I'm on it.
Okay, good.
So as I mentioned, Beryl plays a number of different characters, and I've been sending provocations her way to try and get her to really untap where those characters live vocally, physically. One of the characters is this man named Jesse Binga, and Jesse Binga was like prominent Black American business owner. I think he founded the first Black bank in Chicago, I think.
Wow.
And we were joking in rehearsal, like he's got this Idris Elba vibe to him, this like Denzel smoothness, and the show moves at this pace, fueled by the writing of Beryl, the kind of poetic nature of the text, this idea of flying. But Binga kind of sucks the air out of the room and just commands everyone's attention. And there's a moment in rehearsal where like Beryl found that.
Wow.
And me and the assistant director, Emma Jade, looked at each other and was just like, yeah. That was another yeah moment. Yo. Yeah.
Beryl, you have such a gift. Like, and I've not seen you live yet. But I'm just, the vibe is telling me you are working your blessing.
Listen, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that is really huge. From both of your lenses, how would Bessie be received in today's society?
I wonder if Bessie would do the same work. I wonder if she would do what she did. I don't know. How would she be received?
Yeah.
I have a feeling, some of those, she had a reputation for speaking her mind, always telling the truth. She didn't like something, she didn't participate in it, and she'd let you know. I have a feeling that would not go over well now, just as it didn't go over well then. You know what I mean? Like, I think it actually might be, I don't even know, like, she can't tolerate that. That's another thing I love about Bessie, is she can't tolerate. She doesn't tolerate things like
is that a little bit like you?
Yeah.
Okay. I was waiting to ask that conversation piece, and you had such a beautiful segue. Thank you, Beryl. Thank you for the segue.
I don't express it very well, actually. Like, I don't see myself as someone who has like a explosive way of being. I mean, maybe I just don't see it in the same way. But yeah, there's an aspect of that I can really relate to, where once you know that something isn't going to work, I think that Bessie has a better ability to say, no, I'm not doing that. And I don't care what the consequences are. You can do whatever you need to do, but I'm not doing that. Whereas I might just kind of go along with it, and then kind of go, oh, well, I really shouldn't have done that, which is something I'm, practicing because she has, I think that's an aspect of her that I can actually kind of relate to, but don't always act on.
Okay. Marcel, how would Bessie roll in today's world?
I think that she would be an inspiration to many. Just her like forthrightness, her don't tolerate like no nonsense, I think could be really inspiring to young people, which was her mission as well, was to inspire young folks. And I think she would be annoying to a lot of folks. I think I think folks who don't know how to receive or don't know how to make space or room for vocal, demanding, confident women, I think will feel really like put off. And I kind of like that. I watch tennis. I think about Naomi Osaka or
oh, you're a tennis fan.
Yeah,
I am too. Who's the male and female GOAT?
Oh God. Okay. Okay. I think the GOAT is Serena Williams. Period. I thought like, Federer was always, GOAT for me, but to win a championship when you are pregnant, you cannot be touched, yo. You cannot be touched.
we gotta sit down some serious.
All right.
We gotta have a serious tennis conversation. That's good. That's good. Fantastic. So, we're gonna start winding it down in a few moments here, but what do you want? Actually, let me get to comments because a lot of great comments here. I don't want to leave the family out. So Wendy visited, you may know her, says, "Oh, kudos. This is a magical conversation. I love this Friday morning energy. Hashtag self-discovery. Hashtag creatives. Kids don't lie. Hashtag kids don't lie. I love that." Donna says, "This is when we just don't look at the person. We look at the higher power. She was given a gift. She'd be just as successful."
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
Divine Right says, "I was happy to hear when my son told me he was in the 4th grade school when they learned about Bessie Coleman. He was so excited." Excellent.
So cool.
Question from the family. Marcel, with your multi-dimensional background, British born of Caribbean parents and experience including Eastern European travel, how does that influence your lenses as a director? Great question.
Wow, great question. I speak in metaphor a lot. I think I speak from like cartoon characters, wrestling.
Oh my, we gotta sit down. We got all three of us are gonna have a good. We need to go pretend this, and we may need to document clips of it, but not the whole thing. But
Yeah, I pull from a lot. I guess I think outside the box is how it influences me. Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. What do you want the audiences to get from this event? I'm not calling it a performance here. I think it's an event. What do you want the audience to take from this event?
There was a comment about the gift that Bessie was given. And I believe that too. I believe that I really want people, when they see her, to know that they have, I know it sounds a little cliche to say it, but they have that too. Every individual is so unbelievably special. And all we have to do is try to get out of our way, get those obstacles, move them out of the way, and do our best to peel back the layers of the onion of what we all have to offer. May not be exactly, it's not going to look exactly the same as everybody else, but that every person has something incredibly special to offer, always. And if you know that, and if that's solid, and that's what I feel like Bessie has the opportunity to demonstrate for us. She just knew that. Don't have to, do any more. You just know it, and then spend your days just trying to work it and try to develop it. So I hope that people take that away.
Marcel.
All I can think of, I don't even listen to Taylor Swift, but all I can think of right now is the shake off the hate, whatever that hater song.
I don't know. I know the song you're talking about. Okay. I don't listen to her, but
I'm just shake off the hate. People are gonna say, when you're the first, when you have ideas, when you have goals or ambitions that other people might not be able to see, doesn't mean it's a bad one, doesn't mean it's wrong. Don't let anyone's hate or fear influence where you see yourself or what you'd like to do. Because I think, we label someone, I think it's we label someone crazy until the idea is successful, and then we call them a genius. You know what I mean? It was it's the same idea. So, I mean, if you have something that you want to do or pursue or carry on, do it. Because you never know how far you can go.
Dreams don't have an expiry date.
Ooh. No, and you might make mistakes, but it's not a big deal.
You know what you do? You tell people, I'm experimenting.
That's right.
There you go.
If you're experimenting. How has this event impacted each of you?
A lot of ways. I would say All I can say, I mean, I think that, growth is the first word that comes to mind, because, I'm like back onto the stage after some time. And in a feeling different, thinking in different ways, and looking at things in different ways. I feel like there's been a lot of growth, and I feel like the rest of it's yet to come. Like, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a lot of, as the audience comes in, as feedback starts to come in, and I start to like, we start to sort of see what people are responding to or not responding to. I feel like there's going to be even more learning that comes from that.
Marcel.
I journal often, and my last journal was like at the beginning of rehearsal, and I remember I said that my passion for theater has dwindled a bit because of my passion for other life things has increased. Like, and I don't really have time to really dive into and follow theater like I used to. And this experience has reinvigorated that for me. And has reminded me how much I thrive working with other people. Being at home and working on my computer at, Zoom things, isolating, like I get work done, but it's not the same as bouncing ideas off in real time from folks and feeding off of energy and vibes. So that has been a really clear reminder that I need to work with people.
Well, both of you, thank you very much for taking time out of your positive, productive schedules to share with the family this morning. I have huge admiration for both, and not even respect. I wouldn't say admiration, respect for both of you. So this is just a great conversation. I'm going to do my best to make it to these performances, one of these performances, and it's definitely. I want to see it live and just enjoy the moment of this event. So again, thanks to both of you. For people who want more information about it, the link is right there. Some other people that have been key in this, the Theater Gargantua have been key, and also Be Current. Now, Marcel, give us a little background on Be Current, because I have a global audience and people need to know about Be Current.
You will. You'll learn a lot more about us in the coming years, believe. But Be Current was founded in the early '90s by Audrey Zena Mandiela, and it was a, kind of on the fringe theater company that really supported and promoted Black women creatives, and then over the 30 years has kind of opened up and been a space of nurturing creativity for Black, Indigenous, Brown theater makers. And like experimental theater makers. We really specialize in non-traditional, non-Eurocentric kind of forms of storytelling, relying on like West African traditions of like the griot, and like, music is a big component of what we do also. And so, I came in August of last year, and my someone mentioned multidimensional background. Like, my hopes are to bring Be Current to England, to the States, and like kind of cross collaborate with different places. So keep a lookout.
All right. Ray also has a good question. Are there any thoughts to put this on film as the reach would be so much wider, not discounting theater as it's a special art form?
I feel like perspectives are open, but we haven't had that conversation quite yet because we're focused on this right now. But
Got it. And Divine Right says this: let us know when you start touring in the US, speaking it into existence.
Thank you, Divine.
Thank you.
Well, both of you, again, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation, and I'll just leave with this for both of you. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy.
Thank you for
that. I think we'll be seeing each other over the next week.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Blessings. Take care.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. My honor. Absolutely. All right, family. That is The Flight. Wasn't that amazing? That was an incredible, epic conversation. Really enjoyed it. And if you're in Toronto, or you're going to be in Toronto between today, which is February 10th, and the 18th, Go check it out. That's where it's playing at the Factory Theater. I'll also just put up the website when you go there to see details where you can buy tickets. So just bear with me a quick second. And we're going to go here. So when you go to the website I've shared with you, that's what you're going to see. Buy. Maybe you'll see me there. Who knows? All right. So let's close it down. I want to say thank you to everyone who watches live on the replay. It's appreciated and not taken for granted. So upcoming things coming up this Monday on the show. Janice and Marie from Foodpreneur are coming back. Our foodies are coming back. And then next Friday, Ray McMillan is back talking mortgages and real estate. So that's what's upcoming next week. Few things. If you want to touch base with me, there is the website, thedrvibeshow.com. Email dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show. Twitter @drvibeshow, and Instagram, The Dr. Vibe Show. So also, you can watch replays of this epic conversation. It's scrolling on the bottom, The Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook. Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. I think there's some more comments here, so let me see if I can get them on before we shut it down. Divine Right, yes, for the foodies on Friday and Ray, foodies on Monday and Ray on Friday. So there we go. All right. So this is the way we close out all the conversations when I'm on them. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And again, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Thank you for your continuous support. Remember to like the show wherever you're watching it. And again, especially on YouTube, like and notification. All right. God bless. Peace, well, keep the faith. And hopefully we'll see you in the theater next week. Cheers. See you on Monday.